Alright, I'll be quickly covering the DBFZ 1.38 patch note changes for Nappa and Piccolo. For the two people that have been watching my channel for a decent amount of time and have seen my older videos, you probably at least noticed that I like playing Nappa and Piccolo together. And so I decided to pick up the game again just to show you guys how the changes work and how it applies. And I'm going to be covering Nappa first, as he has the least changes between the two. A really small amount. So first off, jumping unique attack. Universal change, you can now JH after JS, aka you can now do jumping heavy after his jumping special. Only really usable if you do something like this, right? It's more damage, that's neat, but any other type of extension, it drops. Even in the corner. If you do something like this, it will drop. Let's say maybe like you're already doing this in a combo, right? So, especially in the corner, since Nappa wants to do J2H in the corner. On the topic of J2H, the universal change also applies to being able to do jumping special into jumping down heavy or J2H. But Nappa could already do jumping down heavy after his JS, even before this patch, so it doesn't really apply to Nappa. Then the next buff we got was to his arm break. You can now cancel it after his you can now cancel it with his special attack or his unique attack, aka the S button, right? I mean, again, I think it's not that usable except for one specific situation, aka when you're trying to bait burst, right? I mean, bait reflect rather. Sorry, I've been playing too much Guilty Gear Strive. But basically, if you do something like this, maybe, right? Wait, give me a sec. Yep. If the enemy reflects, you are a plus 18. You can get a pretty good punish off that. Something like this. Right? Then you can just go into your usual Nappa stuff after that. But if the enemy does nothing, you're doomed. You're a minus 21. You are going to get hit with a high damaging combo if your opponent knows what they're doing and they react accordingly. The next change I got was to his Blazing Storm, aka his 236S. Right? As you can see here, Blazing Storm, increased stun time. And you can now super dash after it. Basically, it is what it says, right? So for the stun time part, comboing off of it has become way easier. Even though it was already pretty easy before, right? But with the increased stun time, it has become way easier. You really don't have to do too much to get the combo anymore. Like if you like land it, you can just like jump normally. Same if you were like doing a combo corner with it, combo in the corner with it, something like this. I suck ass though, so it doesn't really matter if it's easier now. Yeah, something like that. Right? You can do that now. And do your usual stuff there. And you can now super dash after it. So let's say you land your armor move. You can do something like this now. Excuse the amount of dropped combos. I have not played in months. I do not touch this game anymore. Right, I am really not good at the timing anymore. But you can basically my point is you can now extend with 236S instead of having to do anything else. I mean, instead of, you know, yeah, something like this, right? You can do that now. Where back then, your only way of super dashing in the mid screen would be off J2H. Yeah, something like this. That's how you do it back then. But now you can 236S. Well, I think its main use though is for neutral. Where if you do something like if you land the farther ranged version by holding the button down, you can super dash right after to get a combo extension without having to spend a bar. Let's see if I can get it though, since I can't even do inputs anymore. Yep, there it is. Pretty much something like that, right? Same with the grounded version, you can super dash after it now. Again, I think that's pretty good, right? You can do something like this. Catch them from full screen. That's cool. His he also got a buff to Giant Storm, which is level 1. It's just more invisibility. You aren't really using it as a DP, so it doesn't really matter. For his A assist, it got more stun time because his 236S also got more stun time, and his A assist is just that assist. So more stun time is cool, right? Since that means you can get away with more stuff, or at the very least have more like breathing room to get away with stuff in like stupid combos, right? So let's say I do something like this. I can easily do something like that now instead of without having to worry about how much like hit stun I have left. And I mean, it's more hit stun, right? That's just good in general. That's just a buff, a cool buff. I like that buff. He also got a buff to his C assist, but I don't really know what it does personally because I do not use his C assist whatsoever. I'm not really a fan of C assist in general, so I never use it. But it got buffed. Like, it's something. Right, so you can do stuff with it now. I don't really know how good it is since I like or what changed specifically because I do not use this CSS ever. But that's pretty much all the changes for Nappa, right? So now we're gonna cover Piccolo, which got a lot of changes. First off, he can now do multiple light attacks midair, even if you whiff it. So it'd be something like this, right? He can do this now essentially. Let me super jump just to demonstrate. You can now do multiple JHs midair. I mean JLs rather, jumping lights, right? And Piccolo's jumping L is really big, so I think that's pretty good. You can kind of like poke easier, I guess, when you're close in like a neutral situation. But I mean, it's a buff. It's something for Piccolo. It's something for the Grill Master. That's cool at least. The next buff we got was to his standing heavy. Essentially, the attacks quote unquote sped up. I don't know if that means the startup or the range, since that's the same wording used for Ultra Instinct Goku and Gogeta Blue's patch notes, which turned full screen after the buff. I'm pretty sure, if my memory serves me correctly, or serves me well rather, is that this definitely goes farther. It did not go this far before. So I mean, it's almost full screen now, fully charged. But that's cool. You aren't really doing that with Piccolo. I mean, maybe it could go in tandem with like one of his other new stuff, right? It's something. But that's about it for his heavy. The next buff though is to his standing unique attack. It pretty much just sped up the grab, right? That's his grab. His standing unique attack or his special is his grab. I don't really know what the effect is changed for what midair. I don't really know what that means. I guess if the enemy is midair. Actually, it says fully charged. I'm pretty sure the buff is if your enemy is mid-air. Let's say something like this, right? If you fully charge it, your enemy goes sliding like that. I think your enemy was still like aerial after that. You can like easily do something like this now, right? I think I forgot to close that. Sorry. You can easily do something like this now off this like grab, something like this, right? Like it keeps them grounded now. Because I'm pretty sure back then it didn't do that. So that's neat. Then the sped up attack. I mean, fully charged. I'm pretty sure just like the grab comes out quicker, I guess, when it's fully charged. I don't think the range changed that much. It feels longer. But the main buff it got is inputting forward while doing the grab now makes Piccolo slide forward, increasing its range, right? If fully charged, it's pretty much full screen now. And Piccolo has invincibility on this grab, so let's say he does something like, let's see, something like S. Let's say make the enemy do an S, right? So give me a sec. So you got something like, yeah, you can pretty much just like block. It's pretty much the same as armor, kind of. So let's say you land your thing here. You have armor basically. You're invincible there. So full screen grab is invincible. That's funny, I guess. Good for Piccolo. But the next buff we got though is to his jumping light attack. Oh wait, I just read it. I'm sorry. But that's what I just let me say. That the next one though is to his jumping unique attack. When your enemy is in hit stun, you can now hit the enemy pretty much anytime mid-air since they sped up the startup. So something like this works now, which didn't before. Like something like this maybe. Give me a sec. Something like this. Right, you can do that now, which is cool. Right, that's something you can do now, as well as increasing the attack duration, which I don't really know what that means. Like I usually saw that, like even with how fast his arm becomes now compared to normal. But its other buff, like the standing version got a forward moving version. You can now press up along with it to make Piccolo somewhat move like upwards while during it. Right? And you can see the difference. If I don't press anything, he doesn't really change his position that much, right? But if I hold up, he does like this weird thing where he goes up and back down. Doesn't really seem to be applicable in combos. I guess it's like just to be funny in neutral. I guess I don't really know its use. Alright, the next buff we got is to his Demon Shocker Horizontal, aka his 6S or the forward laser beam. You can now do 2S after landing it, something like this. As well as being able to connect your other Demon Shocker, aka 3S or the diagonal version, to do something like this, right? So it's something, not really using that. Like old Piccolo routes only did something like this, right? Something like that. But it's a change, right? Maybe if you can do it mid-screen, it seems. So it's only for the corner, but most of the time you'd be doing the 3S in the corner either way. For like that's how his combos used to work. The next buff we got is on Demon Shocker Diagonal, aka 3S. It's pretty much the same as his 6S, where he can cancel it and stuff, but it also got a nerf. So first off, the nerf, right? It cannot touch crouching opponents anymore. It will whiff no matter what you do, which is a pretty big nerf, right? You're really minus if that whiffs, almost minus 40. But it got reduced recovery. I don't really know what its recovery was back then, but that's pretty much it. And it also got a change to when it hits the opponent that's grounded. Back then, if you hit them with the diagonal version, they'll stay grounded as if you hit them with the forward version. Now to launch them in the air, so you can pretty much do something like this now, mid-screen. I don't know how you'd capitalize off that, honestly. Maybe something like this. I mean, you can do that, or maybe something like this. Yeah, something like that now. So that's cool. Or maybe something like this. Give me a sec. Yeah, pretty much something like that. That's pretty much all the changes that Diagonal got. If I'm reading this correctly, yep, that's pretty much all the changes it got. Then Demon Slicer, aka his 214L, also got buffed. It's just one buff. It comes out faster now if your opponent's in hit stun, aka like in a combo. So something like this, right? It it will come out faster, allowing him to do like stuff he couldn't do before, like mid screen. He can now like of like no smash. He can like easily do this now, which I'm pretty sure he couldn't do before. Right? He can like he can essentially just 214L now rather after any hit stun hit. Yeah, it's only for the grounded version, so it doesn't really apply to the to the aerial versions, right? Same with 236M. It comes out faster now. If your opponent's in hit stun at this, right? Same with 236H. That's pretty much all this. That's pretty much it. Then Homing Energy Blast got the main change, aka 236S. You can now super dash after it and special moves. So if I'm understanding it correctly, you can do something like this now. Yep, something like this, and it applies even if you whiff. So you can now pretty much cover yourself with this, do this, or do something like this. Something like this. If I can do the input correctly, maybe I guess because like I'll say yeah, something like that. Yeah. So you can do that. You can do this. Yep. And it got sped up too. If I didn't mention that already. Same with the big version, it's slightly faster now. The small version or the normal version is really fast. And again, you can super dash off that now. Right after doing it, right? And it also got a 214L version or a quarter circle back version. It's pretty much just slower, right? It looks more like the older version. That's essentially what I think it is. That's like the old version. Since the old version's speed being slow was really useful, but that's pretty much the only change for that, along with the other stuff I mentioned. And the only really remaining changes I can show you here is to his supers, which again, more invincibility. Like quicker invincibility doesn't really matter. You're not using any of his supers as a DP. Like none of these are coming out as a DP. So that's pretty much all the changes for both Nappa and Piccolo. I'm looking forward to playing around with them more again. Mainly with Frieza though, since he got the most changes. But I am not enough of a Frieza main to be able to like judge that and tell you. And I'm pretty sure there are like already better videos covering his changes. I'll link a combo video for Frieza in the description actually that uses his new changes that I really recommend you check out. But that's about it. Thanks for watching this far, I guess. That's about it. See ya.